Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Casualeann here with the Raw Talk review from January 31st, 2022. Now, if you're watching Raw tonight, don't forget that it's actually going to be on Sci-Fi because of the Winter Olympics. Now, I appreciate, who is it? WJTV. Thank you so much. I lost track of you for a second. Thank you so much for that tip. Yeah. Make sure that you look on Sci-Fi if you're going to be watching Raw tonight. Alright, so Jackie Redmond and Matt Camp greet us. It turns out that MC got to watch the Royal Rumble in person. I should be so lucky. Not this year though, like next year. But they gave some quick results. Ronda Rousey returned towards the end. There were a number of qualifying matches for the Elimination Chamber. AJ Styles and Rey Mysterio, Riddle and Otis, and Austin Theory versus KO. Now we'll get into that one in just a sec. But they venture further into the Miz versus Dominic Mysterio match. Miz tripped himself, pretended it was Rey Mysterio, and got the King of Mystery ejected. But the distraction from this causes Dominic to be just thrown off, giving Miz the win. So Sarah Schreiber was with the Miz, and she asks if he actually did trip from Rey. He completely avoids the question, diverges to Beth hitting him during the Royal Rumble mixed tag match. But he calls what happens with Dominic just outsmarting him. He learned the hard way, the Miz did, and now the younger generation has to as well. He walks away with a toodles. After some ads, there's replay of the Rousey-Lynch confrontation right at the end of the show. After Becky disrupts Ronda Rousey, she gets arm thrown for her trouble. Rousey heads to the back saying she'll have her answer on Friday. And the Hall of Famer Lita challenges Big Time Bex for a match at Elimination Chamber. She pops out as Ronda Rousey goes back in. First, Becky Lynch does decline. Then Lita calls her scared and Becky changes her mind. Now, I won't go too far into this here because it's SmackDown territory, but the kind of back and forth between Ronda and she might choose Becky. Oh, now she's going to choose Charlotte. Oh, she's going to choose Becky. Now Charlotte. Like, it's a little cringy to me and kind of unnecessary. I'll give a possible reason for all of that in the Talking Smack review, but for right now, the position kind of is, it's a little inconsistent. Eric Bischoff, our special guest host, has a mindful for Redmond and Camp, and he is in full podcast mode. He notes Ronda's fan reaction, but he thinks she's not quite as confident as she appears to be. Hence why she takes a little bit longer to make her decision, whether it's going to be Becky or Charlotte. So Camp asks, how will this decision be made, head or heart? Now I'm assuming that Bex represents the mental choice and Charlotte the emotional one because of their history. But Bischoff says that Charlotte sent Ronda packing. She sent Ronda packing, so he thinks that Ronda Rousey's business is actually with the Queen. Now Redmond asks if Lita has what it takes to actually take Becky Lynch on. Now Eric cites Lita's momentum, but he believes that Becky Lynch is actually on the top of her game. He's ready to see, he says, two badass gingers in the ring, Lita and Becky Lynch. He also talks about how WrestleMania stakes make everything, including these kinds of mind games, intensified. So they cover Rhea Ripley and Nikki ASH, their one-on-one match. And I was glad that in this match, both Rhea and Nikki ended up looking really tough, but Rhea did need to be reestablished as the butt kicker, the better of the two of them. especially after that kind of, wholesome, sort of sweet misfits tag team storyline. So Sarah Schreiber has Nikki backstage, who has a disturbing smile plastered across her face. She talks about being in a celebratory mood. She's proven through this that Rhea is the villain in all of it. She's all over the screen. She's the Scottish all-American superhero. Now, Sarah reemphasizes that she did lose the match with Rhea, and Nikki just ignores her chants. Nikki winner, Nikki champion, hero, and etc. Redmond calls her delusional. Nikki ASH has definitely become kind of a caricature of this superhero character, but I dare say now it's going into a caricature of the caricature, like overboard, which I guess is underwater, is it deep sea diving, snorkeling, I don't know. Following more ads, discussion moves to the qualifying matches for Elimination Chamber. So AJ Styles and Rey Mysterio went head to head. AJ Styles did prevail in the end to get his place in the Elimination Chamber, which is excellent. It looks like they're finally moving AJ Styles back into singles territory, which is where he should be. After losing the 50-lap scooter challenge, Riddle kind of rebounds with an Elimination Chamber qualifying win over Otis, the 4-point Otis. Kevin Owens and Austin Theory give new credence to shock for me. Austin Theory actually won. And while, don't get me wrong, I was really disappointed that Kevin Owens wouldn't be a part of the Elimination Chamber, this sort of thing needs to happen. Stars like Riddle, like Theory, kind of this new generation, they need to be in these prominent places. And so WWE is doing right by highlighting this newer talent. So in his interview with Sarah Schreiber, Theory shows her his selfies, shock of the century, and talks about how he'll be WWE champion soon. He states he's the future, and the championship will look so good on him. Now, Sarah Schreiber asks if Vince McMahon will have some advice for him, and he notes that he's already taught him a lot, to expect the unexpected. For Eric Bischoff's part, he's impressed with Theory, and he talks up his talent, as well as Angelo Dawkins' win in his hometown, kind of being emblematic of things that can happen in WrestleMania season. Now, I'm glad that he kind of did note that, he won in his hometown thing. I think it alluded to how people usually don't in WWE, so that was pretty cool. My rating is 3 out of 5. In the words of Lisa Simpson, meh. MEH. I tend to revel in Nikki ASH, particularly in this kind of twisted reincarnation she has. And she really didn't disappoint me. Now, as for Theory, they haven't built on the whole selfie and Vinnie Mac protege parts of him. They've left him a little thin in that regard. And even when you thought there was an opening for him to talk about what Vince would say, they didn't make an effort for there to be some maniacal counsel, some grisly motivation from, Vince's dastardly mind. They didn't really do any of that. It was kind of just more of what we'd already seen and heard, and that was kind of the same problem with The Miz too. So 3 out of 5. But what did you all think? Where is Miz and Edge's feud actually headed? Is it done? What is new for Bianca Belair now that she didn't win the Royal Rumble as many folks expected her to? Will Ronda Rousey actually end up facing just Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania? Let me know in the comments. And be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Got it right here. You're wondering where the sign is? There is the sign. Like, share, and subscribe. And tap that bell icon to make sure you get notifications for when new videos come out. Thank you all so much for watching, as always, and I'll see you soon.